वंदे शंभुमापतिं सुरगुरुं वंदे जगत्कारणं वंदे पन्नगभूषणं शशिधरं वंदे पशूनां पतिं वंदे सूर्यशशाङ्कवह्निनयनं वंदे मुकुन्दप्रियं वंदे भक्तजन आश्रयं च वरदं वंदे भक्तजन आश्रयं च वरदं वंदे शिवं शंकरं. Esteemed friends, among the questions so far received, other than those regarding stress, the most prominent and pertinent are about the mind, spirituality, and love. What is this mind? How to regulate it? How to control it? How to arrest it? How to be positive with it? Everybody, right from times immemorial, has been insisting upon the control of mind. Yoga Vasishta speaks of Manaha Prashamana Upaya. Yoga is nothing but the method by which you cool down the mind, calm down the mind, tranquilize the mind, silence the mind. But how? Everywhere there are attractions, there are repulsions, there are so many abstract and concrete thoughts. How am I to control? And Patanjali says, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is nothing but Nirodha, to stop. What? Vritti, movement. Of what? Chitta, mind. Mind is full of mentation. Does mind exist really? The sea is a collection of drops of water. Similarly, mind is a collection of thoughts. If the drops of water are removed, there is no sea. A straight line is a collection of points placed one after the other. If the points are removed, straight line disappears. Similarly, there are thoughts, there are feelings, there is mentation, there is always a movement of the mind. If the movement is stopped, mind has no existence. If the thoughts are drained, mind does not exist. It's very easy to say. But how are we to arrest the mind? In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna Paramatma asks Arjun, control your mind, control your mind. Mind is your nuisance. Mind is a menace. Mind makes a heaven of hell. Mind makes a hell of heaven. There is nothing like hell or heaven. Thinking makes it so. Whether it is a Western poet Shakespeare or the Oriental thinkers, they all speak of only one thing: mind. It is to be controlled, it is to be regulated, modified. Elsewhere, Shakespeare says, allay thy ecstasy. Don't be fringed. Don't be overwhelmed with everything. Control your mind. Regulate your mind. Whether it is Krishna or Kalidas, whether it is Shakespeare or Milton, whether it is Vyasa Maharshi or Valmiki, whether it is mother or father, whether it is a friend or relative, everybody comes and says the same thing. Mind is to be regulated. It's very easy to say. Arjuna also says it's very, very difficult, Krishna, to regulate the mind, to control the mind, to arrest the mind, to soften the mind, to have a stop of the mind. Everybody says, and Krishna agrees. Asamsayam mahabaho. Asamsayam means no doubt. Samsaya means doubt. Asamsayam means no doubt. Asamsayam mahabaho. You man of mighty arms, great hands, large capacities, asamsayam mahabaho, mano durnigraham chalam. Mind, manaha, durnigraham, nigraham means to control, durnigraham, hard to control. It's very, very difficult. It's almost impossible. Mano durnigraham chalam. Always moving. Achalam means not moving. Chalam means always moving. Vayoriva su dushkaram. Even wind can be controlled. It can be held in your tight fist or grip. Wind can be controlled, but not mind. Sri Krishna agrees. Arjuna accepts. Right from the age-old times to the present day, all the efforts have been to control the mind. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodhaha, Patanjali says in the very first sutra, yoga is mastery over the mind. Sri Krishna Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita says, yogaha samatva uchyate. Life is full of pairs of opposites, good, bad, right, wrong, favorable, unfavorable, lucky, unlucky, fortunate, unfortunate, up and down, pull and push, man and woman, boy and girl, failure and success, appointment and disappointment, north, south, east, west. You have so many pairs of opposites. And they do come as the seasons come and go. The wheel of time never stops, it rotates, it goes round. When the time is moving, the pairs of opposites do happen. This is unavoidable. You cannot escape from it. But amidst them all, you try to maintain that equanimity. And how can you maintain equanimity? When you have mastery over the mind. So much has been spoken. But how? That's a very big problem. How are we to control mind? How are we to gain mastery over the mind? Now, today, we shall try to answer the question, what is mind? How to gain mastery over mind? When you try to gain mastery over something, you must know its nature. I know the psychology of my students. When I begin to teach them a lesson very seriously, they become restless. They get diverted. They think of their girlfriends or boyfriends. They may send messages or receive messages. They get diverted from the class. They don't bestow attention on my lesson. Then what is to be done? I know the nature of the students. They are unable to concentrate. They are unable to listen to me. Then I draw their attention with a joke. What is most interesting to their minds? I describe a boy. I describe a girl. Ah, beautiful girl. Her eyes are like lotuses, twinkling, sparkling, and her walk is majestic. Her personality is magnetic. Her nose is like Sampenga flower. Her lips are like rubies. Her teeth are like pearls. I go on describing the girl from top to toe, and that girl is seen by this boy who is majestic, magnificent, mighty, and then the boys and girls have the curiosity. They turn their minds and give their minds to me. How is it possible? When I know the nature of the students, I deal with them appropriately, conducively to the control of the mind. I win their attention. Similarly, I know the nature of my wife. She is fond of jewelry. She is fond of materialism. She is fond of pattu sarees. One day, I am going to the city, Bangalore. And in Bangalore, there is MG Road. And on that MG Road, on right side, you have the beautiful jewelry shop. On the left side, you have the beautiful pattu saree shop. I have some assignment in the city. I have to go to a particular temple or ashram. My interest is in the temples. My interest is in the ashrams. Her interest is in the shops. Her interest is in the jewelry or the pattu sarees. I am a young man. Long ago, I am just making a reference to the past. And my wife is seated behind me as the pillion rider. I have the two-wheeler. I ride. I know her psychology. I don't want to go to the jewel shop. I don't want to go to the pattu saree shop. I must somehow stop her mind from getting drawn to the jewelry shop and to the saree shop. I know her nature. I know her psychology. Then I plan very intelligently. When the shops are nearing, I raise the accelerator. I tilt the two-wheeler, and she is scared. She does not look at the right or look at the left. She holds on to me, and somehow I cross the shops. She has not seen those tempting shops. Now I ride normally. When the temple is nearing, I take the vehicle close on the left to the temple, and then I enter. All this is because I know her nature. The point here is, it is easy to control, it is easy to gain mastery over anything or anybody if at all you know his nature or her nature or the nature of the object. When you deal with the electricity, you know the nature of electricity, that it will give you shock. Therefore, you wear the gloves. You do not touch it without the gloves. Everywhere before you gain mastery or control, the first requirement is to know its nature. Now, I want to gain mastery over my mind. When I want to gain mastery over the mind, I must understand its nature. What is its psychology? Then only I will be in a position to deal with it. I will be in a position to regulate it. I will be in a position to master it, control it. To know its nature, what is the first requirement? Observe. Observe the child. The child is fond of toys. Among the toys, what type of toy is most interesting to the boy? Bright colors. Among the toys of bright color, what is most interesting? Anything moving. Therefore, when you observe the child, you will be understanding the nature of the child. When you observe the students, you will be in a position to understand their nature. When you observe your husband, you will be in a position to understand his nature. When you observe your wife, you will be in a position to understand her nature. Similarly, when you observe the divinity or God, you will be in a position to understand his or divine nature. So, what is the first step? Observation. To understand mind, to know the mind, the first step is to understand or to observe. You observe the donkey, you observe the dog, you observe the monkey, you observe the child, you observe the husband, you observe the waters, you observe the general public. The politicians know the psychology of this public so very well that they just make all promises before the elections, and during the elections they make speeches, and the memory of the society is very short-lived. They forget everything, they loot everything, and by the time they come to the final, again just before elections they do some favors. They study the nature of the society voters. Everywhere, the first requirement is observe. Observe the mind. Then you will know the nature. What is the nature of the mind which you know after its observing, after observing it? First, it is fickle. It is ever on the move. It is never stable. Jagaha, Gajaha, Manas. What is Jagat? What is a Gaja? Gaja means elephant. If you observe the elephant, it is never idle. It is never still. It is always moving. Its ears may be moving. Its trunk may be moving, its tail may be moving, his legs may be moving. Movement is the nature of the elephant. Jagat, Jagaha, is nothing but Gaja reversed. If you look at the world, cosmos, universe, it is always in the movement. Everything is changing. What is today is different from what it is tomorrow. From yesterday to today, there is a difference. You have kept the room very, very clean. Where does the dust come from tomorrow? There is a dust. The change may be sudden. Change may be slow. Change may be steady, gradual, but there is nothing without undergoing a change. Nahi kaschikshanam api jatu tistyatya karma kriti. Krishna says, it is the nature of nature to be in a state of flux, to be in a state of movement. So, the elephant is ever moving, the universe is ever changing, and the dog is always on its move, so also monkey is fickle, and the mind is never fixed. It is its nature to be moving. So the first point number one, first point is mind is never stable. It will be moving as the dog moves its tail, as the elephant moves any of its parts, as the Jagat is always changing. So, to control the mind, we must understand its nature. To understand its nature, we have to observe it. When we observe very keenly the mind, the psychology of the mind, we find it to be moving. Two, this moving mind has three more qualities. Number one, it is always egoistic. It is of self-love. I do not tolerate anybody criticizing me. I get angry if anybody scolds me. I am self-centered. I am egoistic. I am always assertive. That is the nature of mind. Mind is first fickle, next egoistic. This egoistic mind seeks recognition. Everywhere, egoism is to get the recognition. I wear a very beautiful pattu saree. Why? People should look at me. I am different from others. Why? I must draw the attention. I want to be famous. I want to be popular. I want to be different from others. When I go to a hall, people should stand and respect me. My presence is to be felt by everybody. That's egoism. When I don't have any talent, I try to have at least different type of clothes, attractive gait, majestic look, magnificent stature, something or other, so that I assert. I am egoistic. I am a VIP. I want to be different from others. So first quality of the mind is to be fickle moving. Second is to be attractive. So to invite everybody's attention, draw the attention in my own way. 3, I am intoxicated with what? Same ahambhava plus ambition. I am always excessively ambitious. If I am the president, I would like to be the higher person than that. Everywhere there is intoxicated movement. Vali is intoxicated that he is the strongest person. Ravana is conceited, intoxicated. As a drunkard is intoxicated. Every individual, on account of this egoism, position, attention and all that, gets intoxicated. And that intoxicating thing is our ego, alcohol-like. Second point. Third, We are smitten with the scorpion of jealousy. We cannot tolerate somebody better, more beautiful, more handsome, more famous, more attractive. This is the third quality. So, what is the nature of the mind? By very carefully observing it, we find that the mind is fickle, one, point number one. Two, egocentric, seeking always attention, recognition. Two, conceited, proud, assertive, alcoholic, alcohol of conceit, pride, and lastly, jealousy. There may be other qualities. These are the minimum. Now, one by one, we analyze, we observe, mind is to be regulated. If you are to remove the envy, remove comparison. Remove jealousy. How? Love. You are jealous of somebody, you love that somebody. Then you are always conceited. Be modest. Be humble. Always egocentric. Be a giver. Danam. Charity. Make myself small. These are the three ways. Even if you remove the three qualities of stinging jealousy, intoxicated conceit, and recognition seeking egoism, there is still monkey, which is fickle. That fickle mindedness, it is its very nature to be moving. This fickle mindedness is to be arrested. What does Patanjali say? We shall come to Patanjali. You have certain steps in Yoga Abhyasa. Number one, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Dhyana is to have that meditation. Prior to that meditation is the regulation of the mind. It has two components. First component is pratyahara, second component is dharana. We have, with all efforts, removed the scorpion stinging envy and jealousy. We have removed that alcoholic pride, conceit, garvam with humility. And the third one is that nature of seeking recognition, egoism, that also you try to reduce. But still there is that fickle-minded nature. How to arrest it? Sri Krishna says, it is not impossible, but it may be difficult. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. By practice, you can make the mind still. Many foreigners come to our university. Many rich people come to our university. On the very first day, they cannot sit on the floor. They require a chair. And when they sit, squat, they stretch their legs. They do not know how to fold at the knee. Slowly, first day they sit on the floor, stretching the legs. Second day they bend a little. Third day more. Fourth day more. By the time they come to the end of the course, they are successful in keeping their Padmasana. The legs are properly folded. How did they learn it? By practice. When we try to touch our toes with our hand, fingers, it may be very difficult initially. But gradually, when you practice sadhana, abhyasa, you will succeed in touching your toes with your fingers. You cannot have the thumb touching this small finger on the shoulder. Initially, it will be very difficult. Gradually, you succeed. Similarly, mind initially is restless. Mind initially is moving. This fickle-minded monkey is to be regulated by hook or crook. For that, what does Patanjali say? We shall see step by step. We will now in this class deal with Patanjali's, and next we will go to Swami Vivekananda's if there is time. Patanjali says, Pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdraw the mind from the senses, senses from the sense objects. Senses are 5. Sense objects are innumerable. The eye is the sense of seeing. Nose has the sense of smelling. Tongue has the sense of taste. Skin has the sense of touch. Ears have the sense of hearing. And then, when there is a sound, the ears hear. When there is a beautiful girl or a boy, handsome, your perception, your eyes are drawn to that object. Senses and sense objects. And for them all, the Adhisthana Devata, the Moola Virat, the person behind, controlling them, guiding them, is the mind. First step is don't look at the objects. Withdraw the eyes from the sense objects. By God's grace, we have the eyelids to close the eyes. But there is no gate or door to close the ears, skin. How can we withdraw it? There is a method. And that method is, we are already practicing. There is a line. This is 3 inches. You should outgrow this 3-inch line. What is to be done? You draw a longer line. When you draw the longer line of 6 inches, this 3-inch line becomes small and then it becomes insignificant. It may not even appear when there is a line of 10 feet. Line cannot be removed. Sense objects cannot be removed. But they should not be seen, they should not be heard, they should not be touched, they should not be felt in their taste. Withdraw the senses, sense perceptions from the sense objects, Patanjali says. How, sir? Very simple. If I give you the example, you will be surprised. In Bangalore city, there is a thief, a notorious thief. And every day he goes to the MG road, Mahatma Gandhi road. On that road, you find rich women, high-class women, going to the jewel shops, going to the pattu saree shops, in a majestic gait. And they wear ornaments, gold ornaments, diamond necklaces. One day, this thief looked at a woman. He looked at her neck. Round the neck, there is a diamond necklace. He was fascinated by it. He was enamored of it. He was drawn by it. He wanted to snatch it. He wanted to steal it. He slowly proceeded towards her, gently walked behind her. He had a very sharp instrument. He placed it behind her neck and gave a cut to the thin connecting link, and the diamond necklace slipped from her neck to the road. He placed his foot on the necklace, pushed it to a side, walked to the side, picked it up, placed it in the pocket, and ran away, escaping the police. This is a common thing happening on the railway platforms, busy areas. When travelers are busy with their journey, the thieves are busy trying to collect. Now this thief has succeeded in getting that wonderful diamond necklace. He took it at about 8 o'clock to his wife, his favorite wife, beautiful wife, obedient wife, and he placed that diamond necklace in front of her eyes. My dear wife, because I love you most, I brought the most precious, the costliest diamond necklace. Today I have brought it, come on, have it. The wife adorned herself with the newly acquired diamond necklace. She was very, very happy, and she looked at the husband and said, my dear husband, thank you very much. Wonderful diamond necklace you have brought. But my dear husband, I have a sister. My sister is a jealous lady. If I wear the diamond necklace, she will be envious of me. She will cast her evil looks at me, disty. Therefore, I don't want her evil looks concentrated on this diamond necklace. You please do me a favor. She will not be jealous of me. She will not be envious of me. She won't throw her looks of disty on me if you do one thing. What is that I should do? Today is Sunday. Next Sunday, 7 days time I am giving you. You please go to any place you want to go back. See to it that I get another diamond necklace exactly like this. Then I shall give that diamond necklace to my sister. If I give her another diamond necklace like this to her, she will not be jealous of me. She wears that and I wear this, both of us will be happy. Now, my dear husband, if you really love me, if you want to satisfy me, please get another diamond necklace exactly like this. I give you 7 days time. Now, this woman has given the ultimatum. The husband has received the challenge. He has gone to the same MG road. He is looking right from morning till night, even during the night. First day over, same diamond necklace was not seen. Second day over, same diamond necklace was not seen. Third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, Sunday has come. He was unable to spot out exactly the same diamond necklace anywhere. On the last day, the day when he had to collect the new diamond necklace has come. In Bangalore city, having failed to find the diamond necklace anywhere around anybody's woman, anybody's neck, he went to Cubbon Park, tired, exhausted. Suddenly he jumped. He was very, very happy. At a distance, on the bench, a person was seated. Round the neck, the same diamond necklace was available. He closely observed, went behind the person, took his sharp instrument, cut that necklace. It fell on the floor. He collected it, picked it up and put it in his pocket, escaping the police, escaping all the looks. He went home at about 9 o'clock in the night on Sunday and showed the newly acquired diamond necklace to his wife. My dear wife, at last I succeeded in getting the new beautiful same ditto identical necklace. Then the wife looked at him. My dear husband, thank you very much. But this is not another diamond necklace. This is the same good old necklace which you brought 1 week ago. I was sitting in the Cubbon Park. I spotted you out. You were looking, coming, observing me, and you stood behind. You cut it, pulled it, pocketed it, ran away. I was observing. You took the diamond necklace from my neck only. Now what happened? His eyes were seeing only one object, diamond necklace. He never bothered to see the face of anybody. He never bothered to see the person anywhere. All his mind was fixed only on one person, and that is the person whose neck has the diamond necklace. Now, the eyes have lost their ability to look at everything. The eyes have gained only one ability, concentration. That's what the students require now. That's what Atma Sadhana requires now. The world will be busy. The world will be full of diversities. But you have to spot out that. And wherever you go, your mind is tuned to that. And that is possible when you like an object, when you love an object. All the other things will be removed from your vision. You will be listening only to that sound of your husband's car. You are sitting in the house. Car after car is going on the road. You know the sound of your husband's vehicle. Even before the vehicle comes to your house, the next earlier place was a turning. When the car takes a turning, your accustomed ears will follow that, hey, my husband's car is coming. What has happened? Eliminate the unwanted sounds. Don't be drawn to the unwanted visions. You are drawn to your accustomed voice or sound. That is pratyahara. When the sense objects are no more seen or heard by the senses on account of your higher interest. Mathematician Ramanujam was like that. While eating, he had no knowledge of the food he was eating. While seeing a drama, he had no knowledge of the actors and songs. What is it he remembered? Only mathematics. And once his mother gave him very good, delicious food, and she asked about the taste of the food, and the man said, the square root of .0001 is. What was his mind thinking? Only one, mathematics. What was Einstein thinking? Only one, the theory. Similarly, great thinkers, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had only one thought, God. Radha had only one thought, Krishna. Sita had only one thought, Sri Ramachandra Prabhu. A sadhaka has only one thought, and that is samadhi. All the other things were withdrawn. We grow beyond them. What is the secret? The smaller line is not seen when there is a longer line. The petty small interests are no more interesting when you have the large interest. And let that be physics, let that be chemistry, let that be mathematics, let that be your hobby, let that be God, let that be anything other than the small things. So, how to gain mastery over the mind? Transfer your interests to higher things. Bammera Potanamatya was thinking only of Sri Ramachandra Prabhu. Gopis were thinking only of Sri Krishna. All the devotees think only of the deity. Anjaneya Swami was tuned to the cosmic plan, Rama's working, and so the things have dropped. Mind's nature is fourfold, which we should not forget. It is jealous, remove it with love. It is intoxicated, remove it with humility. It is egocentric, develop charity. And ultimately it is fickle, moving from one to the other. And for that, make it single-minded, single-focused, attending on only one. The remaining are all to be removed. For that, love. Love something higher, greater, better, unique, different. Other things will not be heard. That pratyahara is a wonderful technique. You withdraw from all because the mind is tuned to something higher. Both are to take place simultaneously. You want to withdraw, very difficult. You have to attach it to something higher. That is dharana. Anjaneya Swami had that dharana. Ram, 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 all the time. Rom, Rom, Ram, Ram. The entire body, mind, intellect equipment is filled with Ramanamam. Prahlad was able to see Hari everywhere. Indu galadu, andu ledani sandehamu valadu chakri sarvopagatundu. Endendu vedaki chuchina andande galadu danavagrani vinte. Prahlad says, don't think that God is here or there. He is available here, He is available there. He is available everywhere, He can be seen everywhere. Have your eyes glued to that Hari. You will be in a position to see Hari everywhere. Similarly, when the thief had his diamond necklace fixed in his mind, he was searching only for that diamond necklace. He never looked at the face, whether it is his wife or somebody's wife. Whether it is a man or woman, it is immaterial. His concentration is only on the diamond necklace. Similarly, your concentration is always on the Atman. The other things are superficial, peripheral, unnecessary. And you go to the core, see the Atman, see the Brahman. One master asked the Sishyas, giving them each a mango. My dear boys, I give you a mango. Please take it to a place and eat it when nobody is looking at you. Everybody went to a corner Silently, without anybody's knowledge, he ate it and came back. One boy took that mango and went to every place. In every place, he was able to see only the look of God, the vision of God, the presence of God, the existence of God. He came back without eating and he told, I see always, everywhere, one person looking at me, and that is God. You cannot. I give still more a simpler example. Recently, Modi ji came to Bangalore and there was a public function. Many people were going to listen to him. My neighbor's daughter is there, very beautiful, and she has also gone. Her lover was there. That boy came and told me, sir, that girl is going to the function to attend the lecture of Modi ji. Oh, I am also going. Okay, God bless you, go. He went. And when he was going, he was looking only at the girl. Only at the girl. And finally, he came in the night. Next day morning, that girl's brother asked this fellow, my friend, did you come to Modi ji's function yesterday? Yes. Did you see me anywhere? No. Did you see my sister there? Yes. I saw her standing at a particular place. I looked at her. But I was standing by her own side. I did not see you. Why? Brother and sister. The lover is interested in the girl, not the brother. His looks were confined only to the girl. He eliminated the unwanted brother. He assimilated the needed girl. Similarly, God, world. God is needed. World is to be eliminated. You see God, you don't see the world. World is an object to be seen. God is an object to be seen. Between these two objects, one is needed, one is not needed. The eyes are interested in looking at only the God, and you see, when you see God, you eliminate automatically the world. Pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdrawal. And this is dharana. You are filled with that. Students require this. Why students? Anybody? The other sounds will not be heard. You will be absorbed in it. Finally, one more incident I say. Thoughtlessness is bliss. Mindlessness is bliss. Absence of mentation. Mentation means thought. It is bliss. In Bangalore city, on the railway platform of Bangalore city, there is a thief. And this thief is cutting the pockets of the rich people, robbing the women of their jewels without their knowledge. And all the travelers formed an association and made a complaint to the station master, to this chief minister, to the railway minister, to the prime minister. The letters have gone. And Modi ji brought a specially trained, Scotland Yard trained IPS officer. That man came. This thief is very, very intelligent. The moment the new IPS officer is starting from Delhi, he knew it. He drew the pen picture, computer picture of the IPS officer. That IPS officer is still more intelligent. Even before coming to the Bangalore city railway station, he drew the picture of the thief. The police officer knows the thief, thief knows the police officer. The police officer reached Bangalore stationed himself at a particular place, and he was looking at the thief. Movement, 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 movement. And the thief was looking at the officer. He was looking at him, thief was looking at him, both were looking at each other, and the police officer thought, the man is to be caught red-handed when he is stealing. And thief thought, I must be in a position to commit the theft under his very nose when he is not looking at me. Both are very particular, looking at each other, and finally, first day over, second day over, third day over, there was no theft, everything was peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. The wife of the thief was a little disturbed. She scolded her husband, 7 days ho gaya, 10 din ho gaya, 1 month ho gaya, you are unable to get any money. What am I to do? That police officer is observing. Some more days, the thief could not succeed because the officer is vigilant. Finally, he told the wife, thief told the wife, as long as that police officer, vigilant officer is present, we cannot commit the theft. We shall go away from Bangalore city. We shall go to another railway station where the police officer is absent. Now, railway station is very calm, shanti, 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 tranquil, 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 and they thanked the Prime Minister, Chief Minister, everybody for making the platform without a thief. The police officer has no work because there is no thief. The Prime Minister sent the orders. My dear police officer, thank you very much for your wonderful services. Since the thief is absent there, you are transferred from that Bangalore city station to elsewhere. The thief has left the railway platform. The police officer also has left the platform. That platform is our mind. Stealing thoughts are not there. Vigilant observation is not there. Movement of the mind is not there. It is still, it is calm, it is tranquil, it is shanti, it is samadhi. What is it that gives us the highest state? First, know the nature. Next, withdraw all the other things from the mind. Follow your object and then increase the vigilance so that thief cannot commit any theft. When the thief is absent, when the vigilance officer is absent, what we gain finally is shanti. Om Shanti, 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 Samadhi. Today, I tried to speak of the mind, what it is composed of, what it comprises, and what are the commodities, what is its nature, how to lull it, how to silence it, how to negate it, how to keep it quiet. The students must develop a love for the subject, then all other things disappear. As a lover sees his girlfriend, not the brother by her side, we see only the God, not the world. Pratyahara is withdrawal from all the minor things, withdrawal from the sense objects, withdrawal from all distractions, and dharana is to have only one, that's God. That is the highest, that is the full bliss. When the vigilance and the thief are absent, there is no mentation, there is no thinking faculty, there are no drops of water in the ocean, there are no thoughts in the mind of mentation. Everything is standstill, everything is serene, quiet, tranquil, and we enjoy that state of samadhi. Let us learn to observe, regulate, control, overcome, reach the highest, and enjoy the best. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. God bless us all.